Every day of the year, many groups such as this one gather throughout our nation to discuss and plan the future actions and policies of their organizations. Such groups usually consist of a chairman, other officers, and of course the individual members. Meetings such as this one, typifying free speech, free assembly, and free discussion, are the heart of American democracy. Clubs, businesses, schools, churches, and our national government use these assemblies to carry out the will of the majority, and yet to protect the rights of the minority. Wait a minute. What's all this? Now, just how does such a nice-looking group ever get itself in a mess like this? Pardon me. Excuse me, please. Could I... Quiet, please. Thank you. There, that's better. Now, take a look at yourselves. Just what was being accomplished by all that confusion? You, yes, you, Mr. Chairman, is this the way you usually conduct a meeting? And you, each and every one of you, this meeting is just as much your responsibility as it is the chairman's. Now, let's start all over again, and let's see if we can't do this thing right. Remember, there is a definite order of business that should be followed. And you...
The meeting will please come to order.
That's fine, but try it a little louder. The chairman has to be sure to speak loud enough and clear enough for everyone to understand. Go right ahead.
The secretary will please read the minutes of the last meeting.
The regular monthly meeting of the Humanitarian Club was held on January 4th.
Thank you. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? There being no corrections, the minutes will stand approved as read. Are there any committee reports?
Mr. Chairman,
Miss Kennedy.
the members of the Entertainment Committee wish to report that they have completed tentative arrangements for our spring banquet. I wish to submit these plans to you now. They are as follows.
The secretary will please file this report. Are there other committee reports? If not, old or unfinished business is now in order. At our last meeting, discussion of the motion to send delegates to the National Convention in Chicago was interrupted by adjournment. Would anyone like to discuss this matter now?
I don't think the value of such a plan would be worth the money.
Hey, wait a minute.
How do you think we're going to learn anything about what's going on?
Whoa, break it up! Break it up! Oh, yes, I'm still here. Do you realize that in the last few seconds you've broken almost every rule for stating and discussing a main motion? This must be what got you into all the trouble before. Now, let's start again with the chairman's call for unfinished business.
Unfinished business is now in order. Discussion of the motion to...
Do you know the exact wording of this motion?
No.
Then you should ask the secretary to read the motion, because the chairman must be certain that the motion is correctly understood by each member at all times.
Discussion of the motion to send delegates to the National Convention was interrupted by adjournment. Will the secretary please read this motion?
It was moved and seconded that the Humanitarian Club send...
Discussion is now in order on the motion as read by the secretary.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Palmer.
I feel that our group should elect 3 persons to attend the National
Well, I still
Convention.
think we ought to send... No?
No.
Oh.
You see, Mr. Chairman, you never take sides or state your personal opinion on a question. While you're presiding, your duty is to stimulate and moderate, not argue.
But I...
Yes? Yes?
Nothing.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Palmer.
I feel that our organization should elect 3 persons.
Is there any further discussion? It has been moved and seconded that our Humanitarian Club send 3 delegates to the National Convention in Chicago. All those in favor, please raise their right hand. All those opposed, the same sign. The motion is carried. New business is now in order.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Decker.
I move the sum of $20 set aside from our treasury for use. Huh?
I'm sorry to interrupt, Mr. Decker, but we can't understand you. The rules of good speech are especially important in conducting a meeting. Remember, a mumbled motion is not a good motion.
Oh. Mr. Chairman, I move that the sum of $20 be set aside from our treasury for use as a petty cash fund.
I second the motion.
It has been moved and seconded that the sum of $20 be set aside from our treasury for a petty cash fund. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Johnson.
I move to amend the motion by striking out the words $20 and inserting in their place the words $0.
I second the motion.
It has been moved and seconded that the main motion before the House be amended by...
Mr. Chairman,
Huh?
I rise to a point of order.
You what? Oh, well, state your point of order.
My point is that the amendment now proposed makes the main motion read opposite from its original purpose, and is therefore out of order.
Mr. Chairman, my amendment
Mr. Johnson, you've not been recognized by the chair, nor is the point of order debatable unless referred to this group by myself. Now let's see. You mean that by changing $20 to $0 as the amendment proposed, we have in effect said there would be no petty cash fund?
Yes.
I see. The amendment last proposed is out of order.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Johnson.
I move we adjourn.
I second the motion.
Well, now, wait a minute. What about the rest of you people?
Mr. Chairman, the motion to adjourn is not debatable.
It has been moved and seconded that the meeting adjourn.
Uh-huh, Mr. Johnson, that was a pretty sharp move, wasn't it? Just because your amendment was ruled out, you got angry. And since you know a few tricks of parliamentary procedure, you decided to gum up the works.
Well,
Well, you can do just that if you want to. Because parliamentary law is set up to protect the rights of all, and...
Sure, that's why I did it.
No, Mr. Johnson. You were angry. You weren't interested in the rights of the group as a whole, nearly so much as in your own selfish interest and pride.
Now, wait a minute.
Oh, I don't mean to be tough or to insult you in the least. It's just that, well, each person in a meeting has to realize that he has a responsibility to the group. After all, a democracy works through group cooperation, in which individual rights are protected by law.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Johnson.
I wish to withdraw my motion to adjourn, and I further move to amend the original motion by striking out the words $20 and inserting in their place the words $10.
I second the motion.
It has been moved and seconded that the motion be amended by striking out the words $20 and inserting in their place the words $10. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Miss Kennedy.
I move that we vote immediately on the amendment as stated.
I second the motion.
It has been moved and seconded to vote immediately on the amendment before the Assembly. Will those in favor of voting please raise their right hands? Those opposed, the same sign. There being a 2/3 vote in the affirmative, the motion to vote immediately is carried. It has been moved and seconded that the motion before the Assembly be amended by striking out the words $20 and inserting in their place the words $10. Will those in favor please raise their right hands? Those opposed, the same sign. The amendment is carried. Unless there is further discussion, we will now vote on the main motion as amended.
$10 be set aside from our treasury for a petty cash fund.
All those in favor of the motion, please raise their right hands. Those opposed, the same sign. The motion is carried. Is there any further new business?
Well, that was very well done. But if you don't mind, let's take a short run through to make sure we understand the most important steps in conducting a meeting.
Go right ahead.
First, a meeting has a definite order of business, which includes calling the meeting to order, reading the minutes of the last meeting, reports of committees, unfinished business, new business, adjournment. Next, let's take a look at the life history of a main motion. The motion is made. The motion is seconded. The motion is stated accurately to the group. The motion can be discussed or amended if so desired. A member can move to stop discussion on a motion. The chairman restates the motion. The members vote on the motion. The chairman announces the results of voting.
Is there any further business?
Mr. Chairman,
Mrs. White.
I move we adjourn.
I second the motion.
It has been moved and seconded that we adjourn. Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion is carried. Meeting's adjourned. Good afternoon. Well, thank you for helping us out.
Oh, that's all right. I probably shouldn't have butted in.
Well, I, for one, am glad you did.
Mr. Johnson, I thought you might be angry.
Oh, I was. But you were right. I knew some tricks and I used them. I kind of thought it was fun.
It can be. But you'll find that the rules are more enjoyable when they're used to get the job done. It's the democratic way. And gentlemen, one thing I'm sure we all agree on, the democratic way is the right way. Right?
Right.
Right.